The final moments of Chris Kaba's life, caught on firearms officer Martin Blake's body-worn camera. They weren't expecting him to try and escape, and that's when the fatal shot is fired. The bullet has pierced through the car windscreen into Chris Kaba's forehead. Despite officers giving him CPR and the arrival of paramedics, the 24-year-old dies in hospital the following day. Today, Metropolitan Police Officer Martin Blake, who fired the shot, has been cleared of murder.
Today's verdict is significant. No firearms officer sets out on duty intent on ending a life. Their sole purpose is the complete opposite: the protection and the preservation of life.
Chris Kaba was unarmed on the night he was killed, and soon to be a father. But the car he was driving had been linked to a shooting in Brixton the previous night, and that's why police had been following him before he was stopped. While giving his evidence, Metropolitan Police firearms officer Martin Blake told the jury he had a genuine belief that one of his colleagues could be killed if he hadn't have used his gun. He also told the court he did not intend to kill Chris Kaba, and it was the high revving and sudden movement of the car that led to him firing the shots. But Chris Kaba's family say he didn't deserve to lose his life. In a statement released after today's verdict, they said, "No family should endure the unimaginable grief we have faced. Chris was stolen from us, and this decision shows his life, and many others like him, does not matter to the system. Our son deserved better." The acquittal of Martin Blake isn't just a failure for our family, but for all of those affected by police violence. An inquest into Chris Kaba's death is expected next year. Well, plenty of reaction here tonight since the not guilty verdict was read out this afternoon. The police watchdog, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, has released a statement. It carried out its own investigation ahead of the CPS pulling together this case, and said ultimately it's the jury's decision, having carefully considered all the evidence, to determine guilt or innocence, and we respect that decision and thank them for their consideration. Chris Kaba's family will be holding a vigil here later on tonight.
Adina, thank you. Adina Campbell reporting there. Well, joining me now is our home editor, Mark Easton. Mark, we see there the family making their distress-free claim, but there'll be huge relief in Scotland Yard at this verdict.
Oh yes, this is an important case for a lot of different people. Let's remember the context. We have a young, unarmed black man shot dead by a white police officer on the streets of London. Within weeks there are demonstrations across the country with anti-racism protesters claiming that Chris Kaba was Britain's George Floyd. George Floyd, you may remember, was shot dead, unarmed man shot dead by police in Minneapolis in America in 2020, which led to the Black Lives Matter protests, which were in America. They were huge, and they were here as well, of course. But the jury in this case took less than 3 hours to conclude that this was not Britain's George Floyd moment. They processed those 17 seconds from the car stopping and the fatal shot. They heard about the demands and responsibilities placed upon firearms officers. They no doubt heard how some net marksmen actually turned in their weapons and said that the whole prosecution was misguided and wrong. And if the trial had ended differently, the damage to the Metropolitan Police, already so scarred by accusations of racism and scandal, would have been catastrophic. As it is, significant tensions remain. The Home Secretary has said this evening it's imperative the verdict is respected and everyone is given the space to process what's happened. Clearly, as we've been hearing, there are concerns for the family, and we don't know how the community is going to respond at vigil tonight, but a lot of work will be going on to try to keep things as calm as possible.
Thank you very much. Mark Easton there, our home editor.